right. Hi, everyone. I totally forgot to announce this, but I going live to meet with Amber, who I chatted with last, I believe it was, gosh, when was that? I don't even know. I know it was in 2019. I think it was pre-COVID, I think. Let me see if she's on here. I'm not very good at using Instagram Live. I'm trying. I told Amber, I'm like, I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure out how to do this freaking Instagram Live thing. I've done it a few times, but every time I feel like I struggle with it. Invite to join. So let me find Amber. Here we are. Send request. Hi, Gabby. I saw you on here a second ago. Hi, Danny. All right. So anyhow, I'm coming on here live today with Amber because Amber's a mom and Amber's almost done with school, which is super exciting. When we first chatted back in 2019, she was just starting her CRNA journey and she's gearing up for graduation. So that's exciting. I can't believe that much time has passed by. But yeah, I wanted to kind of talk to her and kind of get the scoop. I don't know sorry guys, I'm trying to figure this out. I think I sent you a request, Amber. I could be screwing this up. Hopefully I can figure this out as far as how to save this video. I may try to put it on my IGTV somehow. But anyhow, we're just gonna chat about how she has survived CRNA school while being a mom. All right, why can't I admit you? Let's try it one more time. I'm gonna try it one more time. Send request. Oh, there you are.
Is that working?
It worked. All right, it's probably my fault. Let me turn up my volume.
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing.
There we go.
I don't know how to work Instagram.
Yeah, I don't either. Good. Well, no, half my head's chopped off, but I think
I know. I don't know if that's what it looks like for everyone else. I have no idea.
People don't need to see my head, so it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you because it's been, when did we first talk? I was trying to think, when was that?
Well, so I started, it was before I ever started clinical. So It was right at the beginning of the program. And so, I mean, I hadn't done anything but maybe a small amount of didactic.
Right.
Because I remember I had told you, like, what my plan would be for clinical.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah. I'm excited to tell you about how all that's gone.
So it's been like 2 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Rowan was 1, and he turned 3 yesterday.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, because our kids are about similar in age. Our little
that's
girl.
right.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, very cool. Wow, I knew it had been a while, but yeah, I want to say it was like pre-COVID even that we chatted.
Oh, way. Yeah, way.
The good old days.
The good old days. The normal
I probably
days.
should have actually said that word. I think Instagram's probably going to block me.
I know. It's going to be like, no.
Yeah. Well, kind of, I guess, if you don't mind telling people, like, what has your experience kind of been like as far as, I mean, I think a lot of people are probably curious too. We don't have to say the C word. We'll call it something else. We'll call it like, we'll call it muffin. I don't know.
Code word.
We'll say, yeah, it's the code word muffin. So tell us like how things have been since muffin unfolded in the OR and working around that and getting your hours.
Yeah, well, luckily, you know, the last class had a lot more trouble with losing clinical hours than we did. We didn't really lose many clinical hours. I think when it first started, we were 1 day a week, and that wasn't, you know, thank God for that, seriously, because I couldn't think of a better time if you had to lose clinical time, you know, than when you're 1 day a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Because 1 day a week is hard as it is, you know.
Right.
But I mean,
probably more severe in like a specialty rotation to lose that experience.
I can't even imagine. We're not really hurting for hours at all. We're right on track for where we should be. I mean, we won't be like sky high over hours and cases and stuff like some people have been, you know, in years past. Not last year, but the year before that and stuff. But we're on track. It wasn't too bad. You know, it started off with wearing N95s for every case. Of course, not doing any muffin cases. Not entering any of those. And then it slacked off quite a bit. And that, you know, that all of that started when we were, I would say, I don't even remember when all of that. muffins.
Okay.
I don't remember how many days a week we were. I think we were 4 days a week at the very start, but we weren't in specialties, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
you know exactly what mom brain's like. Well, that, you know, it don't go away.
No, it's and it only ever gets worse.
I know. I feel so bad. Like, half the people in the younger class ask me questions. I'm like,
but see, it's proof that you can survive though without.
you can survive. You can survive. You might not thrive, but you can survive.
Yeah, and that's all. That's what it is. Comes down to the end of the day is just surviving. So
yeah. In the long term, you know,
right.
It's a very short amount of time. It just feels like forever.
Right.
At the time.
It does. And I always tell people, like, school feels like the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
Because when you're kind of in the thick of it, you just, it doesn't feel good. But before you know it, you're like, wow, I'm already, to graduation day. So I think you don't really have time to really think about how much work it is. You just kind of just do it. You got to get used to going through the motions.
Yeah.
Kind of tell people, like, I know when I talked to you in the beginning how you had a lot of family support nearby.
Yes.
Which was crucial. Did that kind of unfold the way you thought it would as far as starting clinical and having that extra help around?
It did, because I think at the time, whenever we had talked, yeah, for sure. My husband was a police officer working night shifts, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I had no idea how we were going to do it, because he would get home off a night shift. There would be a 30-minute time span where I would need to be gone, but somebody would need to be here. Now, I have family right here. We live on a compound. Remember, it's like all of us right here. And so somebody could have come over, and it was just going to be really hard. But he actually started his own business, and he works from home making websites. So it unfolded. I said, somebody wants me to be a CRNA really bad. It is meant to be. I am meant to do this. I am meant to do anesthesia, because this has unfolded unbelievably well for me. Because I didn't, I wasn't sure how we were going to do it. I knew we would do it. I knew I could do it. We would figure it out. You just do what you have to do to get by. If somebody had to come over for an hour, then they were going to do it, and it was going to be hard for them. But they knew what the end goal was. They know that in the end, down the road, everything's going to be better because of this, because I can do this,
Right.
So,
well, that's awesome. So when did that all start? When did he make that shift? Like,
gosh, it's been a long time now. Maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. So shortly after we talked?
Yeah, shortly after we talked. I wasn't in clinical long. I didn't have much clinical experience, not having him here.
Okay.
At home watching Rowan.
Right. I would say, has he felt kind of like maybe a single parent? Has he ever said that?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Full-time job. And, I took a year off in the beginning, because I was supposed to be in the last class, and I took a year off to be with Rowan, and that was a full-time job as from 0 to 1.
Right.
And it's just a different kind of hard, just like anesthesia school progresses, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a different kind of hard from transitioning from 1 year old to 2 years old to 3 years old. It's all hard. It's just a different new kind of hard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
every age has its challenge.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. He's wild. He's driving me crazy, but it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We have a 3-year-old too. So yeah, she's hilarious. So she's a total diva. But it's a fun age, but it's also a really ornery age.
Yes.
So yeah, they keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I was like, dang, son, you are mean. Okay.
Yeah. What has it been like studying and trying to still have quality time, I should say?
So that's been hard. That's been really hard on everyone, because I've always tried to make, the best of my time and try to do, obviously, be the best at all of my roles. But so the way our program worked, it was didactic up front, the first whole half, and then clinical. So it's not integrated. So most of my studying was up front, but then new stuff came along, care plans and stuff.
Right.
For clinical, and starting clinical rotations, preparing for cardiac, preparing for neuro, preparing for all of,
Yeah.
everything peds. Woo, peds.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was hard getting through that, because I spent a lot of nights. I'd come home and I finish my cases. I almost always, because I want to wake them up. I want to extubate them. I want to get that experience. I want to be good at it. And so that takes into some family time. It does. My commute takes into family time.
What time would you say you averaged leaving the OR on a typical day?
My friends would kill me because most of them leave early, like real early. But I mean, well, not real early, but just, I don't know, 3:30.
Okay.
Sometimes 4.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
That's
not
bad. No, that's not bad at all.
I think the latest I've ever left was like 7, but that is not. They would literally kill me on here. That's not like routine, but but that was just because it was a really good case, something, something super important. And I always let Stephen know, I'm not going to be home on time. He pretty much figured that out after a very short.
Right. Yeah.
But so I mean, it cut into trying to do well in clinical, and then coming home, having to do evaluations, fill in Metatracks and all of that, then preparing for tomorrow's cases, looking them up, making sure I know enough about my patient, about the case, about what I'm doing, enough to call my CRNA and tell them what we're going to do. It cuts it, and it's been really stressful. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Super stressful. But Stephen has patience like no other.
Well, that's good. So that's important. The fact that your husband has that kind of patience.
Yeah.
Especially not just with you, but also with the kids. I'm actually going to try to find my husband to take this little one from me, because I think he might cut into our IG live here soon.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah. But I guess another question I want to ask you too is, you said you came home from clinical, and I guess about how long did it take for you to do all the preparation for the next day?
Well, in the beginning, it was really hard. It took a long time. Just because, you don't know what you need to know. So you try to know it all. And it's just never going to happen for anybody. Like, you can't know it all.
Right.
Just for anybody out there listening, don't put that on yourself, because it's not realistic. And, but I mean, on average, maybe like an hour and a half.
Okay.
But then we have to do like Prodigy and stuff like that. I don't know if you know Prodigy.
Yeah, we use Prodigy, but I know that there's Apex, which is, if you don't know, that's just a board preparation material. So it's like on top of classwork.
Yeah.
They assign board prep work from the very beginning. Like, how soon did you start prepping for boards? Like the first week you were in school?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Which I think people are like, oh, really? And I remember being like, oh, already? Like, we have 2 years to go. But you prepare for your entire time to take boards,
the whole time. Yeah, so every program's different. So we started Prodigy probably a couple semesters in, I want to say.
Okay.
And so we use that, and they have us on like a weekly schedule for that.
Right.
And then we had a review course that you take halfway through the program. We took that, and then we're about to take it again. Okay. They make you take the C exam twice. The first time. Not every program makes you take it.
Yeah.
But this one does. Oh, baby.
I know. It's like,
I love those noises, though.
I know, it is. It's like, I'm going to miss it, because I think I shouldn't say, I think we are done.
You said we are
I say
done.
that when I roll. We got to be done. Find Daddy. I don't know where he went.
Oh,
hold on a second. You can keep talking. I'm just going to.
No, that's fine.
Oh. I knew this was going to be challenging. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh my gosh. This is the story of my life.
Yeah, but
totally
I mean,
fine.
You make it work, right? And so
exactly.
I guess I want to point out to people who are kind of wondering how they're going to juggle everything with kids. It's really about getting your partner, your husband, your family involved, because it really does take an army. And like you've mentioned before, it's not predictable when you're going to get out of clinical. So making sure you're not the sole person waiting to pick your kids up from daycare or whatever situation is. because like you said, at a whim, you could get a good case and you may want to stay and finish that. And that could, maybe you had plans to do something for dinner and that could cut into that, or, now as far as actual weekends go, what does your family time look like, since your evenings are spent about an hour and a half preparing for the next day for clinical? What do your evenings look like on the weekends and stuff?
I mean, on the weekend, right now the summer, and I will say this, the summer has been the biggest blessing. The way my clinical rotations have kind of laid out, I've had really good rotations to have in the summer towards the end. So I have been much more relaxed. I have had time to do things I want to do. It's been a tease because I know it's all about to go out the window for the next 4 months. But so, I mean, in the evenings, we're able to hang out together for a little bit. I'm able to get Rowan a bath and get him down, you know. But on the weekends, right now, I'm kind of doing, I'm just kind of needing that time because I didn't give myself that time like a lot of people did, because I am a mom and because it was so hard in the beginning. I didn't take any of that time, like, to do things for myself at all. So now when I say myself, I mean like family time and, you know, spending time with some friends and just kind of doing anything I can do to keep my mental health there, because I know I'm going to need it. But, so weekends are really good right now. You know, we can kind of do whatever we want to do. We spent Rowan's birthday yesterday, you know, hanging out, and took him to get ice cream and you know, and so
so you've had a week of vacation too, right around his birthday, right? Yeah. How much vacation have you had in the program?
I don't know, everyone's different. We get like a week off between semesters usually. So that's our vacation time. We don't take a lot of vacations though. We don't really go off. We'll do, like, we've been going to the lake some, which is really nice, because I'm the type of person that I'm like, anywhere I can escape from, that's where I want to go. I don't want to like go stay somewhere for a week. I really don't.
Okay, well, that's cool. No, I totally, home, there's no place like home. Actually, but I think it's nice for people to hear that you do get that time off.
You do. You do. There is some time. There is some time that you're going to have. Like, don't let anybody say that there's just zero, because there is. It's just how you want to spend it, you know? Like, we chose not to go on big vacations or anything, but we just chilled. Laid low. And, you know, honestly, the first couple of breaks, Rowan, somebody was sick. Like, every break. I was like, how did they time this? How did this, you know, or somebody had a stomach virus or whatever. And so I'm like, some breaks weren't breaks, but you know how it is. It's just life, but it's a very short amount of time in the long run, you know. But you get time. You get time. And the weekends are your saving grace. Mine, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I look back at the kind of time I had back in school, and I actually feel like I had more time then than I do now, believe it or not. So I think a lot of it is just relative to what your previous experience is like. I'm trying to figure out how to set my phone, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have a good place to do this right now.
Oh, it's all good.
I'm like, and that's another thing. It's like downstairs, the kids are in our messy basement, which is normally where I am during the day when they're not home, but I'll just go here. Maybe it'll be quieter.
Looks like a good spot.
Yeah, I have a...
Oh!
There. This is usually how I look.
Right. Oh, my God.
It's hot. I know,
I hear you.
But yeah, I actually look back to like the kind of time that like me and my husband, we didn't have kids though, but I remember on the weekends, like we would watch Netflix. Like we haven't done that in over 2 years now. And I mean, the fact that we had time to like watch movies, I was like, I don't even remember what it's like to watch a movie. I mean, if we have TV on, it's usually for our kids these days while we're trying to cook dinner or, I don't know, survive. But yeah, I think it's kind of nice for people to know that you do get a periodic breaks in school. Like we went to Puerto Rico. Where else? And I went to like a friend and got married, so I was able to time and get some time off for that because I was her maid of honor. So there are breaks. It's not like go 24/7. You do still have time on the weekends. Now, obviously, you pick how to choose that time.
Exactly.
You know, if you have a test coming up or a paper due, then obviously you're going to spend that weekend probably doing some schoolwork. But then you have weekends where maybe you get, like you said, kind of depending on what's going on when you're getting ready to go into the next semester, you know, you can take a little breather.
Yeah, it's definitely refreshing.
Yeah,
For sure.
how does your husband feel as far as like how has he survived? What if I were to ask him if he would let you do this again, what would his answer be?
He would say absolutely.
Yeah.
He'd be cool. I don't know if I could do it again.
Right. But bring me that sugar mama.
Yeah, exactly. He said that to me today, and I said, I'm gonna knock you out.
Yeah. Cool.
But well, you know, it's been hard. Especially like in these times because you can't go out as much right now. Well, it's been a little bit better than it was in the very beginning, you know, when you couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But just in general, over the last period of like a year and a half, they haven't been able to go anywhere, so it's kind of like getting stir crazy in here.
Right.
And you know, before I went to school, I kept this place spotless, you know, and so now I'm doing that like on my breaks and intermittently on the weekends. But some things just you gotta let go. You gotta just prioritize, you know, like my house isn't gonna look like pristine all the time. But no. You become okay with that.
Oh yeah. I'm already there. I'm like I would honestly be kind of embarrassed. I mean, I granted just kind of walk through my house, but if you literally saw like how disturbingly messy my house is, you'd be like, Jenny, are you a hoarder? But believe it or not,
you a hoarder?
Like we legit pick up like once every 2 weeks because I do have someone who actually comes at this point and helps us clean our house. That's how bad it got, where I was like, I clearly can't maintain because between the hospital and then doing CRNA School Prep Academy, I'm like plugging 70, 80 hour work
I'll bet you are.
So like, oh yeah, and 2 kids and 2 dogs, but I'll just show you how disgusting our house is. I'm not embarrassed, but yeah, so I don't even know why. This is like our back to school supplies along with the cat and like some dog treats and like a broken toy that we need to throw away. Here's clean laundry that we still got to take back upstairs because we had someone pee the sheets last night. Like literally, I don't know. Oh, I have diapers to give to a friend. Like, it's just, you know, you didn't want to see our kitchen. It's really bad. But like once every 2 weeks we do pick up all of our stuff, but it is weird kind of getting used to the new norm. I know there's going to be a day where we can actually have a clean house. Yeah. And have it look nice, but it's not worth my headache or stress. And I think if I was in school, especially with kids, this would be the normal as well. Like there'd be dog treats on the table because seriously, somehow there are dog treats on our table and it's okay.
There are dinosaur chicken nuggets all over my house right now. It's not even funny. And I just don't even care. You know what I mean?
Right. You're just like, it's okay. I mean, yeah. It's funny because I always see people like post these really awesome pictures of like their kitchen or something. And I'm like, I could never do that because it just wouldn't look like I was supposed to take a picture of my kitchen, you know, like
you think about all this stuff.
Like, like I have like a nursing pillow on our kitchen counter and I don't know. But I think letting go of that, like what you used to do. And I even think like in school, I used to clean the house. I remember cleaning the house like every week. So vacuum, do all the things. I used to go grocery shopping.
I did.
I don't know.
Cannot. No.
Yeah. But I mean, that was me without kids in school. You know what I mean? So again, like I think being more realistic with yourself and having like your spouse or your husband take over and do those things. What I do remember doing often in school was telling people no, meaning like I'd have like friends like, hey Jenny, can you come do this or do that or whatever? And whether it was a financial no or whether it was a time no, I had to say no a lot. And it used to bother me. Like me and my husband would always be like, hey Jenny, we got invited to go do this. And I'm like, don't even ask me because you know the answer is no.
Like, no. Got cardiac or whatever it is starting. Yeah, no. It's been a lot of no. In fact, for me, there's been a lot of no's up until probably about a couple months ago, probably start of the summer. Okay. Honestly, you know. Yeah. This summer has been good.
Yeah.
I needed this summer. But
about to say no.
Yeah. Now I'm about to say no. So go ahead and put it on the calendar. No.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything fun planned for when you're done? Because actually, tell me, are you done in December?
I'm done in December. Like
Yeah,
the
that's what
16th or 17th. I don't even know.
That'll be here before you know it. Like, that's going to be, I mean, we're already almost to Halloween. I'm already looking at Halloween costumes.
August is gone.
I know. So December is going to be here before you know it, which is awesome.
I know. I kind
I'm
of
so proud of you.
Fine. Thank you. Yeah, it's insane to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I think about me being alone all the time. You know, you're never alone. You're never really going to be alone in the OR. You've got people to bounce ideas off of.
Right.
But I just think about me being the one, you know? And it scares the crap out of me, and I think it's normal. I think
it is.
You know, I've heard, you know, that's completely normal, and if you didn't think that, then you aren't normal.
Right.
And so I just try to believe in that. It's just like, you know, it's just nerve-wracking a little bit, but we do know more than we think we do.
Yeah, you sure do. And one thing too, you guys, I've actually, and it's funny, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that little bit of fear is actually what actually keeps you vigilant. Because I think it's like, you obviously, as an anesthesia provider, you always try to anticipate what's the worst case scenario and try to be proactive and how can I try to prevent that kind of stuff from happening.
Right.
And so in your mind, you know how quickly bad things can unfold. So you're always trying to stay 4 or 5 steps ahead. And so that way, if something does arise, you know how to take action, but you try your best to try to take preventative measures from ever letting that happen.
Right.
Which is the fun part about our job. But yeah, it is being like, gosh, I'm going to, you know, be the only anesthesia provider in the room pretty soon. And am I ready for that? And the answer is you are. But, you know, he's not a program director anymore. He said something that always kind of stuck with me. It was, when you graduate, you're still minimally competent.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have so much more to learn when you graduate. Like, and even still, like, you always learn. And I think if you love learning, you're going to love becoming an anesthesia provider, because you will always have something to learn.
Yeah.
Because even like, I just did a case today that I hadn't done since I was a student. It's not a case you do often. And then not even like a month ago, I did a case that, again, I hadn't seen since I was a student. So there's always, you know, room for growth and kind of learning, and always being thrown into something you've never done before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you will still get scared, even as a CRNA with 7 years experience. Like, I don't know how this is going to go, but let's do it, you know?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Giddy up.
And I joined a call team. Like, I'm going to be on a call team. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm excited, but you know, and this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, trial by fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll work it out.
You'll learn
you know
really
what I mean?
quick.
Like, I mean, I know that we know more than we think we know. Obviously, we don't, like you said, minimally competent when you graduate.
Yeah.
100% agree with that. 1,000, 1,000,000% agree with that. Like I said, I'm like nervous. Like
you'll be okay. Just use your resources, like you said, and you know.
The idea of being on a call team though is like, it's scary to me, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
that's your job after school. You took a job where you're going to be on a call team. Is that what you're referring to? Cool. Well, if it makes you feel any better, within 4 months of graduating, I joined a call team too. And did open heart and OB, a lot of it. And I actually didn't have good heart rotations in school or OB. So
really?
I remember when they asked me to join the call team, I was like, do you realize, like, I'm pretty much going to be like a student all over again, and they're like, yeah, it's all good. You got to hit the ground running and just go with it.
Hit the ground running and roll with it. Yep.
Okay. Well, let's do this then. As long as I just want to make sure you know who you're asking to be on your call team. That
you know what you're getting yourself into, right?
So when I'm calling you saying I need help with this epidural, like, you're not like, oh my God, Jenny, for real. But
be there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you do get really good really quick, because you kind of have to. You know, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
You have to troubleshoot. You have to figure things out. Just like today, I'm going to force myself to figure out how to save this damn video on IG. I was like, maybe we should just do it on Zoom, because I know how to use them. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to figure out IG.
Like, I'm going to figure this thing out.
Yeah. And so a lot of anesthesia is like, yeah, you might not know how to do it, but you have to figure it out. You have to have resources. And don't be afraid to put yourself in an uncomfortable position, because that's usually where, again, you're going to learn and grow the most, is doing things. And even as a senior student, I always tell my students, like, especially towards the end when you've done all your rotations, you're like, what else can I do? Pick a room that you're not comfortable with, that makes you feel uncomfortable, which is hard to do, but that's usually signals that's where you should be.
Right.
And that's your last chance to take the opportunity to be with a CRNA, you know, to be
I
in an
know.
uncomfortable case, you know?
I know.
So.
Somebody, yeah. Yeah, I've done most of my call shifts already. I think I have like 2 maybe in the fall. I love call though. I love call. I don't know if I'm weird or what.
Like a 24-hour call?
No. Well, I'll have 24-hour call in the new job. No, but our call is like overnight, 12 hours.
Oh,
sometimes 16-hour days, but I've only had one of those. Most of them are 12-hour like night shifts, and I love them. I think it's so much fun. But you know, you have like we have a big hospital, so there's a lot to choose from. A lot of nights. Some nights there's nothing, but you know, I usually end up picking like the 3-week-old peds patient or something. I'm like, all right, I'm already sweating, but let's go.
Yeah. Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, those babies always just yeah.
And it's always good, you know, it's always fine. And but I learn everything. I learn a lot of things from even like the most basic cases too. You know what I mean?
For sure. Because even a basic colonoscopy is going to be different than the last colonoscopy you did. So
yeah,
and stuff can still go wrong. I mean, every case has potential. I actually endo is one of those places where, like, especially for like maybe a e-bus where you know use an LMA. I was like, can you please put lidocaine on the cords? I do not want to
please. I haven't done one with an LMA. I've been hearing all about it. People doing it. I'll probably do one at the next rotation that I go, or the next site that I'm going to. I hear they do them with LMAs, but I don't think we do them at mainly like with LMAs usually.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but,
I mean,
so that's
interesting.
They
don't, but yeah, when they do, make sure they put lidocaine on those cords. Otherwise, it's just constant dealing with them trying to fuck, and then if they spasm, then it's kind of like, oh, well, now I have to intubate anyways.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's cool. So I'm trying to think. Everyone, I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the chat.
There was a few, or one at least. I don't even know how to scroll through the chat. I'm gonna figure it out.
I don't know if Grandma, are they supposed to come over tonight? Okay, well then they're probably not coming over. Was didactic from home at your program? Oh, Brooke is asking if didactic, if you did that from home.
No, we did. We started off in school, and then also yes, half and half.
Half and half because of Muffin.
Because of Muffin.
All right.
But you know what? I was so thankful the way it played out. I'm telling you, I told you somebody wants me to be a CRNA because things have worked out. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because so the major, like very, very core fundamental parts of anesthesia that you learn, I feel like are so important to learn. They just, to me, they are. Maybe to not to everybody, but they were so important to learn in person. I don't know why, but just something about being there and writing and I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Accountability, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that was huge, and so that was in person. And then when Muffin hit, we went out, and I was not mad about it at all. Most people were, but I was not because I have a commute, and I have a kid, and I have things to do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny because my program that I went to, I drove 2 hours one way to go to class when I was in school.
Oh.
And now it's funny because now we're kind of forced to do virtual. They are actually planning on sticking with that format.
Yeah.
And the program director has rationale. I just talked to the student today about it actually that I was with, and he said as long as the people still pass the C and people still perform well on boards, that they were open to keeping that format. But that if we saw any kind of decline in their board passing rates and how good they do on the C exam, they were moving their butts back in person. But things have held steady, so they're sticking with virtual. And I think it has been awesome for the people who commute, because my program had students who came from 2 or 3 hours away to go to their program on top of local students. So for the people that are traveling all that time, it really has been a huge help for them, saving that time in the car. So yeah, I think there's benefits, but like you said, there is something about learning in person. So I think kind of know yourself best when you pick a program and making sure you're asking these questions. And I should say, if you're worried about learning online, to make sure you're taking advantage of like office hours, study groups, anything you could do to kind of challenge your learning a little bit, so the online doesn't feel as, I don't know, not as involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing too is you got to be flexible. I've learned that through this program. Things change so much. They change every day. And I think in anesthesia and in nursing in general, really, they change every day. And you just have to roll with it. Whatever happens, just take the punch, take the hit, and just roll with it. And it's
smile
gonna be
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, being out of in-person classes, the worst part was just not having interaction with people. It's the worst part of being, secluded because of this whole thing anyways, not having people interaction. But I think it wasn't as bad for us because now we get that in the OR.
Okay. Yeah, true.
Maybe, 4 days a week, we're there all week, so we
get
true. That now.
But do you have any classmates that have kids too, or?
Yeah, I have like probably 4 or 5.
Oh, okay. And you have a big class though, don't you? Is it like 30 some students?
It's like 24.
24. Okay. I'm trying to remember the picture you posted. That's what I was trying to like.
Oh yeah. Well, minus 1 or 2 now, but yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's like 20. It was like 24. But it's a bigger class than what they're starting with now because they went to the DMP program. Mine's an MSN.
Right.
So.
Most programs, unfortunately, have had to drop their class sizes because of it, which I was kind of shocked about. But yeah, I think that's pretty normal, at least what I've experienced. Some programs had to make their cohort a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like kind of the hardest thing overall to do as far as being a parent in school, especially if you were to compare yourself to your classmates? Like, what would you say? Is there any comparison, or would you say maybe you think you actually maybe have some things easier, like maybe you're better at time management, or I don't know, do you feel that way, or no?
I don't really feel like I'm better at time management. To be honest with you, I think it's just who I am. I get distracted really, really easily, but not in an OR, but just at home by things.
Yeah.
I think when I was on peds, I think it made it harder doing that because I know how precious these babies are. You know what I mean? I think it made it harder, but I think it made it better. I think it made me better, but it also made it better for me because I was able to like communicate. I will hold all those babies in a half a second.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing with OB, knowing what the moms went through. Right. And knowing what to tell them and knowing how to make them feel a little bit better and a little bit more comfortable. I feel like that was super beneficial, But I think I don't know that it really, in comparison to my classmates, I don't know. I think it's been harder for me because I have tried so hard. I tried so hard for so long to be the best at both. Being a mom, being a wife, being a good anesthesia provider, or student. And it's just really hard to be 100% at all of those things. And then the stress of trying to do that, I think was hardest. But after a while, I really honestly, not until recently, I realized like you just do your best. And that's enough. Right. It is enough. Yeah. It is enough because you care about all of it. You care enough about what you're doing that when you're in whatever role you're in, like when I'm at clinical, I'm 100% at clinical. When I'm at home, I'm 100% at home when I can be. Right now I can be. Whenever it's time to start studying again, I'll go back out. It's going to be hard to walk away and be like, listen, I'm not going to be in till probably 10 or 11 tonight. Right. It's going to be really hard. I'm not going to lie and say I haven't, cried a couple times. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's emotional and because it's like you feel wrong for picking school when your heart is with your family, but you also know you're making a sacrifice for your family by getting this career that you will be happy, you'll have more flexibility, more financial security, all those things. And then if you want to work 2 16-hour shifts a week, you can be home more with your family, do night shift and be home during the day, so it is definitely a huge sacrifice. And I think
especially as a parent and speaking from a parent like point of view. And I also think back to like my childhood, and like my parents worked like 70, 80 hours a week. They still do. My mom's getting ready to retire, but it's funny. I asked her, like, Jane, did you ever feel unloved because you were in daycare till 6 p.m. every night? No. Like, I love my parents. In fact, I moved back home recently within this last 2 years to be closer to my parents because that's how much I love them. But they worked all the time. And they still do. And we were always daycare kids. We never had family home cooked meals. Like, and I don't have any regrets. I love the way I grew up.
Right.
I always knew I was loved. And so I think as a child, as long as you have love, yeah, sure, it'd be nice if you had more time, but I think that's more for like you as a parent.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, your kids want your time. I'm not saying that at all, but they're not going to doubt whether they're loved because you have to spend an extra hour studying, and like, they just will always love you. Even though, like, I just went downstairs and my daughter was like, I want daddy downstairs. I'm like, what about mommy? And she's like, no, I want daddy. And I'm like, oh, that hurts, but here, like, but then she blew me a kiss, I'm like, okay, so she still does love me, but she's playing my heart already,
Yeah.
So, I mean, will she remember me working 80 hours a week while I'm, starting this company that's helping others? No, she won't. But did it hurt me in the process?
Exactly.
Yeah, it did, because I felt super guilty. Yeah. And like my husband's like they love daddy more than mommy because daddy's the one who's is always around now. But I know it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll circle back around.
It will.
And if anything, like especially people who have older kids in school, I say like they're going to see how hard you're working and see what kind of dedication it takes to better yourself and not be afraid to do it themselves. You know what I mean?
I think the people with older kids, a little bit older kids, would say the same thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I guess I want people listening who do have parent or kids to just not be afraid to follow if this is really what you want, you owe it to yourself to do it, and your kids should be proud of you for it. And you shouldn't feel guilty about taking that time you need to accomplish your career goals. Someone else made a good point. I might be getting too into.
I have one of those unicorns down here.
Unicorns?
I love their voice.
I don't even know what unicorns are you talking about. You can have whatever unicorn you can find.
You can have whatever you want.
Yeah, you can have whatever you want, sweetheart. It's probably like gummy. It's kind of like gummy bears. Oh Lord. Anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but it's the fact that like someone made a good point in the Facebook group recently, is that like if a guy, for instance, I hate to say it, but if a guy, for instance, chooses to do something with his career middle of life, like it's not as, I don't think he feels as much like outward guilt from society as like sometimes women do. And I think it stems from, and I know I experience this, is why I'm bringing it up, because like me, I work at the hospital, I run CRNA School Prep Academy. Now my husband does help me with that too at this point. But I felt kind of like weird for a while that I felt like my role shouldn't have been doing that. Like my role should have been like spending more time at home, and
We always feel that.
you know what I mean? And it's like, where did I get that? And it definitely wasn't my parents, because like my parents always worked. I mean, but it just, in my mind, I just kind of feel sometimes like a bad mom. Like I'm not doing what a mom should do, but I'm putting that on myself. And it takes a certain mindset to kind of get past that.
It does. And it takes time to get past that too. And the earlier on you can do it, the better.
Right.
I wish I would have grasped that a little earlier.
Yeah. And like you said, you just kind of came to terms with you can't be 100% at everything.
Yeah.
And that you're almost done. So like,
I'm almost done.
Yeah. And so I just hope that also makes people feel a little more human, like, because it takes a long time to get your mindset to the point where you can let go of that, and like not in that guilt too, like let go of the guilt, and know that this phase is just temporary, and that life will go on. Your kids will grow, and your relationship with your husband, your partner will grow. And I also want to stress too, because that can be a very big stressor on a relationship. Is what do you think? Like communication is probably key for that, wouldn't you say? Yeah,
really. Yeah. Communication, and then just flexibility on both parts, really.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible to be in anesthesia school, but they have to be flexible with you too, and your family, or whoever's going to be keeping your kids. They just have to be flexible. But it's really, that's where communication comes in too, because if they know that up front, they know what they're getting into, then that's so much easier than like, hey, surprise.
Yeah. Surprise. You're going to be taking, doing it, cooking dinner, doing baths,
all
bedtime stories.
Yeah.
5 nights a week. Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, having that partner, that someone's support system is really key and crucial, and having someone who's going to accept the fact that they're going to have to step it up compared to what their norm is. And being okay with that for a couple of years. It's funny because I work with a lot of CRNAs who are actually like partners, like spouses.
Yeah.
And
so many of them.
the spouse actually said that it's harder to be the parent than it is to be like in CRNA school, because that's how much extra they have to kind of take on to kind of pick up. Yeah. But and so it can be really hard on your partner, not just you. And I think, but what's key for me, like my husband at the time has no idea because he's not in the medical field. Thank goodness. I don't think I could handle that.
Right.
But he didn't really understand what I was going through as far as the emotional baggage that kind of comes with being in medicine, both physically and mentally. Like clinical will physically, mentally exhaust you, and more than it would like me today. Like, don't get me wrong, I had kind of what I would consider a stressful day. But when I was a student, I watched my 4th student. It's funny, I got in my car today when I was leaving work, and my student did a great job today. And I didn't think he had like an overly stressful day, but I saw that when I was in my car and I was getting ready to pull out the parking garage, I saw him walk out the door, and I could just tell he was like beat, like just boom. Like I could just see that like dead, like I went waved at him, but he didn't even see me. He was just like zombie walking to his car, and I'm like, oh yeah, he probably had a really if I had a stressful day, I can only imagine what he feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even non-stressful days, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you, the exhaustion is real. Even on a non-stressful day, I'm like, I'm dead by 3:30.
Right.
I really am.
Yeah. It's like you've spent your brain, you can only, like, it's not just a physical thing, but it's like a mental stimulation thing all day. You're thinking and about doses and appropriate response and how would I do. I mean, it's just constant. So it's
a lot of energy.
Yeah, exactly. You do. Your brain sucks it out of you.
It does.
How would you say you've coped? This will probably be like one of the last questions, but how would you say you've coped with like stress and it's okay if you say wine, because I clearly have an issue with that too as I'm drinking my beer.
No, honestly, I don't know. I take a lot of caffeine.
Day by day. Yeah.
I'm so dead serious. No, just honestly I talk to myself a lot, taught myself off ledges a lot, because I'm like, okay, you don't need to worry about this. This is going to be okay. Get back on track. Lots of redirection for myself. And then, Steven's really supportive too. He's really, really supportive. He's like, it's going to be okay. Not much longer. Looking at the light at the end of the tunnel right now is like huge. Yeah. For me.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Especially like that last year, I remember like you turned that corner. I feel like for me, I don't know if it was like that for you, but like my burnout phase was the worst right around that year mark.
Yeah.
Because the first like 6 months, you have a lot of like excitement around what you're doing, it's like, and it's all new and like, woohoo, I get in the OR, woohoo, I just passed my didactics or whatever it is. Yeah. And then you get to that year mark and you're like, this effing sucks. Where you're like,
yes.
Okay, because it's over yet. Like, I'm tired of being tortured. I feel like because you almost, it's like you feel like you just, every day just feels overwhelming, you know?
Mm-hmm. Especially as you're like starting into clinical.
Yeah.
And like you start like learning a couple of things. You're like, okay, I think I got this. The next day you don't got this. And then it's just like this the whole time. Yeah. And so it's just a roller coaster.
Right.
But it's a short ride.
And it's a good thing to point out too, because I even like my student today, and actually now that I think about it, no wonder he probably stressed. So it's like one of those things where, like, for example, like when you don't get your airway, or like when you intubate the esophagus, and even though you've done it, and like I'm sure that it's way harder on you as a student than like, because like me, I wouldn't even second guess. I'm like, whatever happened,
right?
Move on.
Whatever.
But as a student, it could be crushing, where you're like, oh, I suck, and it's just, that's not true.
It's lots of finding your people too, like, and I have a lot of friends that are CRNAs, and they're like, girl, get over it,
Yeah, exactly.
Get over it, whatever.
That's why like, it didn't even cross my mind. It's like, good day today, but now that I think about it, he's probably beating himself up over something stupid like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, because we think that it makes us look bad, but really, that happens all the time. The CRNA misses the IV. Yeah. The CRNA misses. The anesthesiologist misses.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
with
all
an
do it.
ultrasound,
I mean,
whatever
we're not,
it is.
we're not robots. We're not perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you just move on. You just
Yeah.
move on and you do it the next way. Do
Yeah,
something
exactly.
different next time. And
Do something different. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
yeah, tell me about it. That's
Yeah,
just a
so
while
you
to,
have
like,
to try
okay.
something different. If that what you did didn't work, what can you do differently? Yeah, and I know like going to a pediatric hospital too is like learning to use a Miller. Like that's a learning curve if you're used to using Mac. So
Very.
just giving yourself grace to like do these things and knowing, like you said, the end's in sight. When you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it is like a refresher, a fresher breath, or like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
That'll push you through to the end. So,
Yeah.
And you guys have any other questions that you guys are listening here? Hi, Amanda. How are you? Hi, Ryan. Ryan, I work with Ryan.
Oh, really?
Come on here. Yeah.
Small world.
I just saw you today, Ryan. Yeah.
Your student on here, maybe.
What is it?
Said maybe your student's on here.
Oh, I know. I did tell him. I said you should, because I did tell him I was going to speak with you today.
Yeah.
He's probably like at home
Yeah.
having a beer.
Probably. Another stress relief thing is working out too, and I wish I would have started this earlier and made time for it. My classmates, a lot of them like have been on top of it on their crap from day one, which I was not. You know, I started this summer, but I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would have done this sooner. So I would
like the stress relief.
Yeah, make time for that and get ahead of it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a
lot better
point. Yeah, for sure. It's like something about too, like even though you're physically and mentally exhausted, something about going to work out. I mean, you do produce endorphins from working out. We can get really technical here. And that adrenaline surge from doing that will kind of give you like that pick me up you need, that extra dopamine you're deprived of. So yeah, working out, doing something you enjoy, even if it's not working out. What if it's like taking your dog for a walk or gardening or I don't know,
your kid,
just something, you know, that will bring you that like more peaceful state of mind to kind of recoup. And don't try studying when you're already exhausted. I think I remember you reaching out to me in the beginning. You're like, Jenny, I'm on the same page and I haven't gotten anything. I don't know what to do.
I've been here for 5 hours.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what. I feel like I reread the same thing, but I'm not getting it. And I'm like, are you exhausted when you're trying to read? And you're like, because you're trying to figure out what time of day to study best for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're trying to do it too late in the night, I think is what maybe, remember, I don't remember.
At the time, for me, it was late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Amanda, maybe you're doing it too late at night. You need to find a good time of day that like you're not mentally zoned out yet, because when you're too tired, you can't retain. And it's not even, you might just go to bed and get up early.
You might as well get the sleep because you need that too.
Yeah, exactly. But see, here you are. You survived that. But I remember you texting me saying, oh no, Jenny, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, are you really? You must be like too tired to study.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. But see, you survived. So that's
I
the
did.
good news. You're
I'm
here and you're almost
alive.
done. Yeah. Well, thank you, Amber. This has been fun. And I'm excited for your graduation day, and it's coming up. And for everybody, you know, if you had to give any last takeaway for people who are considering CRNA school and have kids or want to have kids, especially because, you know, you have 4 other people in your class that have kids. I mean, any words of encouragement or tips of advice before we send off?
Just do it. Just do it, because they're most likely not going to remember it. And even if they're older and they do remember it, they'll be so thankful.
Yeah.
So thankful because of the life that we're going to get to. Not that you couldn't give them a good life before, because you could.
Right.
But like just the time that you're going to have, just see that and picture it and view it, and keep it in view, because that is sometimes all that keeps you going sometimes, but it's everything. It's everything, because that's the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your life. This isn't your life. It is for a very small amount of time. And that's just what I've had to keep in my head. You know, I'm like, this is not my whole life right here. It is for a very short time. But 3 years from now, I'll be so glad I did it. 30 years from now, I'll be even glad.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
You know, you just bite the bullet, do it, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. That's great advice.
You know,
we actually have a few questions that came in while we're wrapping things up. How do you deal with anxiety of possibly failing? Has anyone failed out of the program? And if so, what did they do?
No, there's been people that have stopped for different reasons, some medical reasons, some just personal reasons, whatever.
Right.
Fear of failure is always going to be there. I feel like to an extent with anyone, you know, because you have to like, you know, with the C exam, for example, you have to make a minimum in my program. I don't know if you have to in other programs.
You usually do, yeah.
Yeah.
At least in my
So
experience.
they make you do a minimum, but you know, you work past that and you do it, and you just prepare the way that has been studied that works. So, you know,
Right.
Anxiety around that, trying to just like I said earlier, like talking yourself off the ledge. Just tell yourself like, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I have to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Choice. You don't have a choice. You just gotta,
You don't have a choice. So just put in the work, put in the time, and it'll be fine. And then like what you said earlier, just recognize early on, because it took me so long to recognize when I was just too exhausted and wasting time. You know, I wasted a lot of time trying to study that I wasn't studying. I was wasting time. I was distracted. Put away your phone, you know, put away your phone.
Yeah.
Put away your phone. Oh my God, I need to put away my phone. But I mean, it's just a distraction, you know? And I think just looking at everybody else's, what's going on with everybody else in the world makes you feel like pressure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of that's good pressure.
Yeah.
But not all of it is.
Yeah.
You just need to focus. Just focus. But just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. Like put your blinders on, just like what they do for race horses, right? I mean, if they see what's going on around them, they don't focus on the end prize is to pass that finish line.
Yep.
Exactly. Don't worry about who's next to you, who's gonna coming up behind you. Just keep going forward yourself.
Yeah, but and I do wish I would have started working out earlier, because I feel so much better, less anxious. But also, I feel like that might be just where we're at.
Yeah.
Program, we're almost done. You know, I mean, I'm anxious about new things. Yeah. But not anxious about the same things that I was. Yeah. Right. I'm not worried about all the stuff that I was worried about in the beginning. I'm worried about more stuff that's coming, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Just new things. It's always going to be something. So. Right.
I used to take my notes to the gym and study my notes at the gym, and I routinely did that in undergrad. So I kind of knew that was like my technique. Yeah. And it always worked for me. And so I carried it in the grad school, and that was really one of the best things I ever did. It doesn't mean I handled stress perfectly well. I mean, I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I had my moments where it was really bad, but you know.
Yeah. And I think everybody does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Someone asked, what does your study schedule at home look like with kids at home? I'm a new mom, and I'm convinced mom can do anything. That's awesome. Yay, Amy. It's a good attitude to have. Moms can't do anything. Why not? We're just as capable as anyone else. I mean,
we do. Yeah. That's what, we can do anything.
I think moms can do more.
Moms can do more than anyone.
Yeah, that's the new slogan. Moms can do more.
We can do so much more than you.
Yeah.
We do because we have to. You just
I know. And we don't complain about it. We just do it.
Yeah. Well, my study schedule it'll be different for everyone, because like right now, what I'm going to start doing is board prep. So my study schedule is going to be whatever Apex tells me to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because our program sets it up for us to do a certain amount on every week.
Right. You know? So you just follow the schedule.
So I'm just going to follow the schedule. That is so much easier to me than trying to make my own. I'm so thankful for a streamlined schedule, because I never loved picking times to study. But step one, I don't know where you're at in the program, but step one would be figure out what time works for you. Like, I was there, you know, and it changes when you're a mom, because when they're, you know, newborn, you've got like 5 naps to deal with, and that's your time each time.
Yeah.
You know, and then like it changes as they get a little older, and then you're like, okay, I only have nighttime. Yeah. Then it changes, and other people can watch them and enjoy them during the day, and like you can kind of pick your schedule, you know, around whoever your spouse's work schedule too, whatever. And so it changes, and just be flexible. You just have to roll with it. You just have to roll with it, and but figure out what you like first if you can.
Right.
as far as timing and also the way you want to study.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
Knowing what works best for you is definitely key as far as study habits. Exploring that early on before you even start the program is ideal.
Yes.
Question: how old were your kids? Or you managed, or Amber just has one kid.
Yep.
But how old? He was like 1.
He had turned 1 the day before orientation.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So he was 1.
Cool. That's right. You mentioned earlier how you were able to defer a year.
Yep.
Which is also, keep in mind, you guys, not all schools will allow that, so don't assume. But definitely it's something to look into if you run into the situation. A lot of schools will let you defer to the following class, but know that it doesn't always exist, but it can.
Yeah.
Non-stress SRNAs and CRNAs hurt people. Non-stress. What, Ryan? Appropriate amount of stress is a good thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Ryan's saying non-stress SRNAs and CRNAs hurt people. Well, yeah, and that's kind of goes back to like the fear is always going to be there, but that's actually a good thing because it actually increases your vigilance.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of not having the anxiety that comes along with fear is like, oh, that sounds so wonderful. It really, really freaking does. But
you
I
get
don't
used
think
to
it's
it
never
though. Yeah, no, the thing is, it's always there. And someone asked me too, they're like, isn't your job like, I don't know if I handle that kind of stress every day. And don't get me wrong, our job is extremely stressful, but it's like, it's a different type of stress when you're an actual CRNA versus an SRNA, 100%.
Yeah, I've heard.
But
it just changes.
You never do ever lose that fear or that stress because it is your patient's life can hang in the balance. And so, but it's that kind of fear that makes you vigilant and makes you question things, that makes you ask, is this okay? Should this be happening? And it makes you a good provider, like Ryan said.
Yeah.
So it's kind of to be expected and it's part of the game. But working in the ICU as an ICU nurse, in my opinion, it's the same type of thing. Like it may be not to quite the same extent of responsibility, but you still it's still a huge responsibility to take care of critically sick patients in the ICU. Right. I mean, holy cow. And so that's why I think it's a good avenue to bridge into anesthesia, because you're kind of used to that type of critically sick patient whose life is in the line, and you're the one who is managing their life, and so there's a lot of stress and responsibility that goes with that. So I think, and don't get me wrong, I've told this in a lot of different times, I feel like I'm kind of a broken record sometimes, but I did not like the ICU. And so you don't have to like the ICU to be an anesthesia provider.
You don't.
No, because it's different. It's very different. Now,
so different.
Parts of the ICU that I did like was the critical care, pharmacology, pathophysiology. The part I didn't like was death. I hate death. I hate it. I hate the suffering. The suffering to me was like the part I hate about my job the most, was the fact that I felt like I took part in my patient's suffering, and it ate at my core. It ate at like who I was as a person. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be that cold, unfeeling nurse because I don't want to feel anymore, because I get so burnt out from feeling and empathy. I like empathy. I like that part of who I am. And so like, I knew I had to get away from that. And anesthesia allowed me to kind of still have that empathy. Don't get me wrong. I still have my moments where like I said, a stressful day today, or stressful, some things still don't work out rosy and peachy for your patients, even in anesthesia. But for the most part, we get to wake our patients up in no pain and get to send them on their merry little way and get to snuggle them when they go to sleep, like peds. What I like about peds, and don't get me wrong, we're done having kids. I said that earlier. I got to hold to that. But I love snuggling babies. Like I love, like, as we go to sleep, I can sing Rockabye Baby. I can sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And yeah, they might be crying, but I get to rub their chubby little cheeks and, I don't know. It's fun. Like, I like peds for that reason, because it's kind of, you can be, like you said, the fact that you are a parent, you have that knowledge of what can ease a kid's
You can
pain.
comfort them, and then it just makes your soul feel good.
It makes you happy. You're like, oh, even if you don't make them smile, even if you know that they didn't cry, you're like,
they
that's
didn't
okay.
cry. Yeah.
And even if they do, it's like, okay, now you can just console them,
I know. And then telling mom that,
exactly.
Like,
exactly. And so unfortunately, I didn't do that a lot with adults.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like, I enjoy it with kids. Like, adults, I'm like, yeah, go to sleep. Boom. But like, I don't get me wrong, not really, but it's just something about being with kids too. It's just like, you can relate to them more and stuff because you are a parent. So there's a lot of fun things about anesthesia. It's not all like, the ICU for me was just like, if I had to be around sick kids all the time, I don't think I could do it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, it kind of makes you more paranoid because you are a parent. You're like, every bruise your child gets, you're like, are they okay?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, but this has been fun, and I'm super proud of you and the fact that you're rocking it as a mom, and you're admitting the fact that it wasn't perfect.
No.
You made mistakes, you survived, you learned, and it took you all the way till now to accept the fact that you're not going to be perfect at everything, all your roles in life. And that will probably serve you very well, even into your time as a CRNA, because I promise you, life will go on, and you're going to probably still feel this way several other times in your life when things get crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you go to have a second child, you're going to feel like, how am I ever going to love? How am I ever going to be a mom to 2 children? Like, I remember thinking every time we have kids, I'm like, how am I going to have a 3rd child and still love my other 2 and give them as much attention as they deserve, you know?
Yeah.
And somehow you do.
I know. You just do it.
Yeah. So just cheers to just doing it. Well, cheers right now. So cheers to finishing school.
After this.
There you go. Well, I'm going to have a glass of wine with dinner. So
I hear you, girl.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Amanda, I called you Amanda. Amber, thank you so much for joining me. But
yeah, no problem.
It's been so fun to kind of watch you in this journey, and just keep in touch.
Thanks for being there, because I relied on you a lot, especially.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm always here.
I think what you're doing is great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, because when we first chatted, I don't think I even had CRNA School Prep Academy. I think it was just didn't. Like. I knew I needed it, but I didn't know how I was going to make it work. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but
here we go.
You know, here we go. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's brilliant, you know?
I hear you.
Do this thing.
It's
so
awesome. I think it's great.
Cool. I think I got everyone's questions. Amanda said, for real, yeah. What do people do after they fail the program? Dolly, I don't know if that's your name. Dolly, so I've worked with several students who have been dismissed for one reason or another. Like, you know, like Amber said, sometimes it's not because of academic reasons. Sometimes people just, you know, in my personal experience, when I have students who reach out to me in this situation, a lot of times it's because there's been some kind of stressful event in their life that has impacted their academic ability. It's not because they can't do the academics. It's because they had some kind of major life event that impacted them personally that led to them having academic problems. So there is, you know, every school is different as far as some have a remediation process, some don't. Every school has a different grade policy. You can actually Google grade policies, by the way. I love Google. I use it all the time.
Right.
But you can usually Google the school you want to go to and student handbook. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, you can usually find an online PDF and you can read it and you can see what their grade policy is. So maybe a good tip to look into before you know, if you're really picking between 5 programs, review their grade policy and see if they have a remediation process in place or something. So,
yeah, I'm
but anyhow, on a positive note, we'll end this. On a positive thing, you guys are all going to go on to be rock stars, and you can do this. And
you can.
Mom power, parent power. If you're a dad, parent power. It's not all about women. Let's get that.
No, like most of the people with kids,
women and men equally can do this. Whether you're a dad, a mom, we're just speaking from a parent perspective thing. You know, anyone can do this. So thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Amber.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll chat soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. Right. I got to figure out how to save this time.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm like,
See, all I see is an X button.
I have no idea.
I'm afraid.
Maybe one of these smart people know.
I think if I hit X, I think it prompts me to like maybe save it. Maybe that's what I never know. Let's see what this does. Okay, no, I don't want to invite more people to join. Video, microphone, face. What is this little?
What's the question? Send. Oh, that's how you ask questions. Don't know.
That gives me. This is not what I wanted. This is not save options. This is making myself an alien. Okay. Let's see. I guess I'll just hit the X button and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Bye, Amber.
Bye.
Hopefully it'll work. Okay, great.
I'm sure it will. Bye.
And now. Okay. Bye. Bye.